Well, Brinley is a college student from Boston who felt certain she was roofied, but denied the date rape drug test at the hospital.
I am a third-year public health student at Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts. In the fall of 2022, I was actually roofied off campus, and as soon as I realized, I went to Mass General Hospital emergency room to get tested for date rape drugs.
I got roofied Saturday night. I get to the ER, the doctor asks me what happened, I tell her all of the info. She goes, unfortunately, because you weren't sexually assaulted or raped, we can't test you for any date rape drugs. And she literally has the audacity to go, since there was no criminal activity involved. Tell me why drugging someone isn't considered criminal activity in a hospital setting.
I posted about my experience on TikTok. People would reach out to me through my comments and messages and DMs telling me about the same or very, very similar stories that they've been through with date rape drugs and testing. This is what propelled me to actually work with Mass General Hospital to make some protocol changes in their emergency and toxicology departments. This was only the beginning. After this, Senator Paul Feeney of Bristol County in Massachusetts reached out to me saying that he wanted to make some sort of legislation to push the change that I'm looking for and make sure that nobody goes through my same experience. That was the creation of Bill S-1371, which has since, as I've heard, inspired other states to kind of create the same or very similar legislations. It's super exciting and rewarding to know that I'm helping this amount of people.
Okay, Brinley, thanks for being here and talking about this. And you've been talking about this a lot. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about what happened, because this was at a private party, right?
Yes, it was.
So somebody handed you a seltzer when you got there.
Somebody gave me a drink. It was like a trusted friend. It was closed when she gave it to me. And I'd been drinking it throughout the night and had just been like leaving it on a ledge. Like I wasn't being super safe with it, but it was also like a friend's house, so I wasn't really thinking about it too much. And then the last thing I remember is falling asleep.
Yeah, and you were still on the first seltzer you were given. Now, when you asked the doctor for a date rape test, they said no because
I wasn't sexually assaulted or raped. She said, why would you even want to get tested if you weren't sexually assaulted or raped? And that's when I kind of pushed back and was like, well, why wouldn't I? You know, like I was essentially poisoned. It's still criminal activity just because I wasn't dually violated sexually and physically. And they were just like, we're sorry, we're going to have to discharge you and we can't test you.
Well, they went to get a doctor at one point, left you sitting there for an hour and a half, right? And your school health insurance did cover a urine test, and so they did test for Rohypnol, which is the roofie drug, and it came back positive. So you, in fact, had confirmation that you had been drugged.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you do then?
After that, immediately after I posted that video on TikTok, you could see me pacing in the video. I was so upset. And then that's when, like, pretty much my entire life just changed after posting that video.
So you started advocating for a policy change in the hospital's ER and toxicology policies, right?
Yes, yeah. So I worked with the patient advocacy with a woman on the team. And I worked with Mass General, their toxicology and emergency departments, to change their date rape drug testing policies. It took a few months, but eventually they let me know that they now do offer date rape drug testing for people in both Mass General and Brigham and Women's without sexual assault or rape as part of the case. And they also have implemented new trauma-informed care in their emergency department. So victims who do think they've been roofied or have been roofied will receive equal amount of resources and help.
And Mia, you did something similar as well. You started a petition to get the police department to take these things more seriously.
Yes, I did. After I had also posted on social media about my experience at the police department, I had many people, primarily women, but some men also, reaching out to me saying that the same thing had happened to them. And sadly, a lot of their cases were more serious than mine. You know, they weren't lucky enough to be with a friend who was kind of watching their back and looking out for them. So I did start a petition calling for the local police department to be taking these reports and to go back and reach out to these people that had tried to make their reports and been denied.
Yeah. And you actually got a bill underway, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm working with one of the senators in Massachusetts. We created a bill, Bill S-1371 of Massachusetts, and it's basically changing the date rape drug testing protocols in Massachusetts. So we are offering a $300,000 bulk allocation of testing strips across bars, restaurants, and nightclubs in Massachusetts, changing date rape drug testing protocols across all hospitals in Massachusetts so people don't have to be sexually assaulted and raped, as well as a public health task force so we can keep track of the data much better and be able to know like what's happening and like how many people are coming in to get tested. And then of course, trauma-informed care in the emergency departments.
Yeah, so important. All right, coming up, a woman determined to come up with a solution to save people from getting their drinks spiked. We're going to meet her next.